This is Gail Birks, your tour guide for the Readiness Factor. And I'm really excited today. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, the Readiness Factor is the podcast that I host once a month on the second Thursday at 2 p.m. And it is an open conversation for leaders and entrepreneurs and rising stars in business and industry. And we talk about everything, folks. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And who am I? I'm Gail Birks. I'm president of CMA Enterprise Incorporated, and we are celebrating our 35th year in business this year, providing you the organizational and performance transformations that you desire. And that is, if anything, a segue to my guest who has joined me today. Steve, if you could be so kind as to welcome Marilyn to the chat room for me as I introduce her. Hey, girl, how you doing?
Hi, Gail. How are you? And
I'm
I always
great.
call you Miss Gail. I
Oh,
am
Miss,
doing well.
thank you, Miss Marilyn. Folks, let me tell you about this lady. She's a real superstar. She might come off as, oh, I'm just Marilyn from round the block. She is a superstar. Marilyn Johnson is the founder of MH Johnson and Associates, a strategic management firm. You're still headquartered in Chicago, right?
Yes, ma'am. I am still headquartered in Chicago.
All
Even
right,
though
all
you might
right.
see cactus above my head, I'm sitting in Arizona right now, but I am
Okay,
still in Chicago.
okay. But she specializes in supplier development and enhancement initiatives. And with over 25 years of experience, she has crafted custom designed initiatives and programs for some of the largest corporations in the country. And I won't list them because we don't have that permission to call their names on the show.
Right.
But you decide to do that, we'll let you handle that one. But she has blended her strategic insight with engaged learning experiences, driving impactful partnerships that to this day sustain themselves and have become benchmarks for business and industry. And she holds a master. She's a smart lady. She's got a master's degree from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, where she concentrated in marketing strategy and organizational management, and a BBA in marketing and communications from Iowa State University. Her strong academic foundation and hands-on experience has empowered her to transform complex supply chain strategies into action plans that yield tangible results. And I tell you, folks, if you really want to get something done, call this lady right here. She will get it done. As a skilled moderator, which you'll hear in just a moment, Marilyn excels in fostering inclusive discussions, and she really does. She brings everyone together, regardless of the level of expertise, your business and industry, or where you're located in the region of the United States or beyond. Her adaptability and focus on both strategic outcomes and engaging experience have made her a trusted leader in creating collaborative and productive environments in business, industry, government, nonprofits, higher education. My friend Marilyn, Miss Marilyn, welcome to the Readiness Factor. And
Thank
today,
you, Gail.
folks, we are going to be hitting that sensitive topic about business remix.
Wow.
That's a loaded statement. Looking
Yeah.
at adapting, reinventing, and that whole success redefining. Girl, I'm going to turn the mic over to you and, welcome, welcome. And please tell these folks how you got into this business.
Well, Gail, first, I want to thank you for inviting me to be on your platform. I know that you told the people that we are friends, but they must really understand we truly are friends. This is not something made for camera. I had the pleasure of meeting Gail many, many moons ago during one of the programs I created, and we just struck a friendship, and we've been there through thick and thicker, and we continue to support each other, which is something that I can't say is really part of the success of my business as well. I'm sure it's Gail's when you have a support team. So when you start talking about remix, really what it boils down to is how quickly can you adjust? And right now, as we sit, there are a lot of people in this country trying to figure out what their business should look like, how
Yeah.
certain things are going to impact them. The first thing I can tell you is breathe, it'll be okay. And that if you are strong enough to have a business, you are strong enough to make the needed adjustments to continue to be successful in your business.
Yeah.
When it came to me, when I started my company 25 years ago, it was nothing like what it is today. But through talking with so many people and figuring out where the market had needs, I knew how to match my skills with the gaps that were there.
Mhm.
So, Gail, when you started talking about what I do, when I tell people I am a supplier development consultant, most people don't know what that is.
Right.
What's funny is when I started saying that, that wasn't even a known thing.
Yeah. You weren't
But
in industry at that point. You
no,
you were not. That's like when I said organizational development when I started my bit when I started out. Nobody knew what that was.
right. They just never put those two words together.
Right.
But now, when you talk to people who are in supply chain, they completely understand the importance of the development of their suppliers because that
Hmm.
money is attached to that.
Right.
But it took years, it took a lot of years and a lot of communications. I am really fortunate to have had some really good customers, people
Hmm.
who walked the walk, people who really endorsed some of the things that I was coming up with, the ideas, because they hadn't seen it before. But we
Hmm.
created a lot of programs based off of supplier need. And that remix, it just changed and changed. I mean, I don't know how you can be in business and stay stagnant
Right.
or do the exact same thing. You can do things on the fringe, but not the exact same thing. I can't imagine you being successful for year after year because you just have to flow with the times.
Hmm.
So that really was the how I started and continue. I mean, I just had a conversation just now about what is it that I'm doing? And I'm reading the tea leaves and I'm figuring out, okay, so maybe I shouldn't talk about certain things right now because that's not what's important.
Hmm.
And staying connected with people who are in other rooms. You
Hmm.
can't be in every room, but
Hmm.
you can have a network of folks, Gail, like you and I always do.
Yes.
Because I was just about to forward you an email or someone from another room that said, hey, this is what's going on. So then we start to think about, okay, what does that mean for us? How does that impact our business?
Hmm.
What is it doing for our customers? And
Hmm.
after that conversation, we always go back to, and how do we monetize that?
Yeah.
Does it make
Yeah.
sense?
That's the bottom line. Does it
Mhm.
make money sense for us to do?
Right,
And I'm always talking about every day is like the first day in business. No
right.
matter how long we've been in there, people always are in awe about the number. And I've
Right.
got a question from LinkedIn. They're the ones that tend to, oh, they're burning you up right now. Having been in business for over 20 years, what motivates you to stay focused on this industry? And I think what I'm hearing you talk about is you're not complacent and
No.
you have not and when we feel like we're not on the right track, we find people that do. And I think the biggest piece, and you can jump in on this one, is just really staying humble.
Yeah. What brings me most joy and when I'm working with customers is that they enjoy the work that I do. They enjoy
Mm-hmm.
working with me
Right.
because I am really dedicated to the work that I do. My goal is to make the lives of people who participate in the programs I create better.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk away with a key learning, then I was successful. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in wasting anybody's time. And I have a client, she is so mindful of that. It's amazing when talking to her. Her big thing is, I don't want to waste people's time because
Right.
she understands time equals money.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we build out things, that's exactly how we approach it. We don't want to waste people's time. We want to make sure that we're mindful of all aspects of programming, not only just from the supplier side, but the presenter side, and just be humble in that space.
Mm-hmm.
People really appreciate when they know that you're genuine.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. I mean, Gail, you and I have walked many conferences and we've seen so many different people approaching potential customers. And then we walk right behind that person who just put on some crazy show. And you can see that that client is exhausted. A lot of times, my conversation is about how they're doing. Eventually,
Yeah.
we'll get to what I sell,
Yeah.
but they feel the genuineness because it is true. It
Because
comes
you
from
got to
a
see
real
them
genuine
as
place.
people first.
Yep.
And if you don't, it doesn't get beyond the hi, how you doing? This is my business card. I've got another question that's coming in from you. Boy, my people in LinkedIn are really jumping all over you today. It's like, what was your turning point when you realized your business needed a remix? Because sometimes the fixers need fixers. I can guarantee you, the last couple of years, I've been dealing with some fixers. What was yours?
The turning point, in all transparency, is when you look at your bank account and the math ain't mathing, and you realize, okay, I've been selling, but am I selling the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
And again, staying true to speaking with people in the other rooms. Now, it takes a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an overnight thing where you can make that adjustment because
Mm-hmm.
people know you for one thing and then you start talking about something different. What I've done is what I do different is not that far of a reach from what I did before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not changing 100%. I might make like a 10-20% adjustment to what I'm doing as far as change. But yeah, when you look at your bank account and you have to understand what's going on in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
one big one that we all encountered was how we did business pre-COVID versus post-COVID. And
Right.
y'all, Gail and I went through COVID together, trying to figure out how do we talk to these people? How do you get to them?
Yeah.
That was a whole different way of looking at things. And also, we couldn't sell certain things that we usually provide because it just wasn't of interest to our client base.
Right. They were all trying to figure out, how do we survive in
Right.
this environment of, I can't talk to anybody, I can't touch anybody, I can't be in the same room with anybody. And if you weren't prepared for it, it could have been a debacle,
Exactly.
in the worst kind of way. One of the other things that, and we had this conversation recently in terms of reinventing and adapting, and that was taking several of what have been signature services and value propositions that we respectively offer, and we've had to relabel them.
Yeah.
And I know I have. There are certain services that I offer now. I can't call them what I used to call them, and
Yeah.
because that could cause a flare up, unlike any other. It'd be like the California fires. I wouldn't be able to put it out readily. So understand the language that's being used out there now is also important for the level of success that you have to go through. I mean, we literally, Steve, my digital manager, and I, we literally went through the entire website, all of our
Yeah.
marketing materials, to make sure that we had sensitized everything that we say and do to the current climate in the industry. It was just amazing. And I was on your website today and saw that you have done some of the same thing.
Yeah. Really what I did and I always do is I just listen to people. So
Mm-hmm.
there are times where instead of making what you would consider a traditional sales call, I just call and talk to folks. I call
Mm-hmm.
and talk to my past clients. I call and speak with prospective clients just to find out how they're doing,
Yeah.
find out what's
Yeah.
important to them, listen to what are the directives they're receiving. And it's like a listening party.
Mm-hmm.
It's just learning. You
Mm-hmm.
have to continue to learn so that you know how to make whatever adjustments you can make without it being a leap from what you normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started doing that, one, I just enjoy talking to people. So it's some in some instances it's like a catch up to find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people don't do that. You know, when you start working, it's heads down. You want to get the project out, but at times, if your head is down all the time, you don't see the changes.
That's true.
And also something I learned years ago is having conversations with people without always asking them for something is easier.
Yeah.
One, they accept your call because they're not looking at you going, oh, brother, she's calling to ask me for more business. I
Yeah.
really am calling because I genuinely care. I want to find out what's going on. And that's my learning right there. It is
Mm-hmm.
a huge
Mm-hmm.
benefit where, like you said, Gail, you looked at my website, you said, oh, they changed some things. That
Mm-hmm.
was basically what we learned from all my phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the service is any different or
Mm-hmm.
dramatically different, but the target may be.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you've been in business 20 years,
Mm.
and the conversation goes in cycles. And folks, let me tell you that is all part of the remake, the remix. Yeah, it's a remake. That's what it definitely is, a remake, uh, because it does go in cycles, and you've got to know and pay attention to the economics of it. It's not about just putting out these wonderful products and what have you. It's about understanding the economic cycles, and if you do, you'll be able to understand the edge and flow of all of this. I've got some more questions coming in from LinkedIn, and they really want to know, because you and I are, I'd say we've got our crowns on today because we are both queens in this partnership game. How have you benefited and worked that whole partnership collaboration throughout your career, and encourage that in your clients as well? And then the
I
other part
can't.
of that too is
Okay.
the peer relationships like you and I have, because a lot of people don't take the time to nurture those as well.
Yeah. I can't say enough for the partnerships that I've made over the years. So first and foremost, although we call them our clients or our customers, they're truly our partners. And what here was the rocket shift for me. Coming out of COVID, I saw my partners changing,
Mm-hmm.
meaning some of my partners were no longer in those roles. And I had to figure out, okay, who's my next person to meet to navigate that relationship and become a partner with. So what I would do from time to time is if my partners had retired out or moved on, I still kept in contact with them to find out, all right, who's in the role? How can I get in contact with them just to find out what's important to them
Mm-hmm.
and building that partnership. So partnership is an ongoing process.
Mm-hmm.
We always have to do it. I don't look at people from a very competitive lens, even if I know that they are selling the same or similar services,
Mm-hmm.
because I am always learning from these people. I learn from the things that they've done. I study some of the work that they've done. I talk to my partners who've actually met with people, and I continue to learn. There's always a thread of learning when it comes to me. How do I sustain the partnerships? I'm just genuine. People who've known me for a year or 20 years in some instance, they will always tell you I'm the same person they met the very first time.
Yeah.
I always think of something my grandmother told me, which was, if you're always honest, you never have to remember anything because it's
Mm-hmm.
always the same. And
Right.
so I come through very honest, one, because my memory is shot, but two, because it's genuine. And learning from the folks, the partnerships, and then even when, like with Gail, you and I, we developed our friendship. It was because we genuinely wanted to see each other succeed. One thing I know is if something is meant for me, it's going to be mine. There's
Right.
nothing out there that's going to stop it from not being mine if it was meant for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I hold on to that as well. Now, I don't want people to think this is all roses because doing this is not easy. I have not had the same day in 25 years. That tells you you have to be happy and comfortable with change.
Right.
My day, when people say, well, what does a typical day look like? I said, well, when you find out, tell me, because I don't know what that looks like. Going into it with a mindset of knowing these are the things I want to accomplish today, but one call can upend all of that. You
That's
have to
the
be
whole day
comfortable.
has changed.
The
Yeah.
whole day is, heck,
Yep.
your whole week, your whole month, but you have to be comfortable with that and just lead from the things that you know, not the stuff you think, but the stuff you know,
Yeah.
because that's what carries you through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I answer
Absolutely.
the question fully?
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Okay.
did. I think these, I'm just sitting back, listening to all these golden nuggets. Folks, you got to understand something. This is our telephone call that we have offered to share with you. That I mean, really, for this is how our telephone calls go. It's like, girl, you got a minute. Our minutes last a little over an hour, hour and a half,
Right.
because we are constantly brainstorming, putting it on the table. Oh my God, you know what? I think I missed the whole bullseye. I missed the wall that the bullseye was on. I need to debrief this with you. You got a minute. And, so having and being able to have that honest feedback with somebody who is really functioning at or beyond that level where you are is priceless. It is totally, totally priceless. It when it comes to, courting industries or certain clients. She's talked to most of these folks out here. It's, or if she's looking to jump over to that government side or some of the other areas that might exist that I may not have thought about, or she may be looking but not knowing how to approach. We do that for each other. And I think that's a transparency you don't see with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've been able to meet some wonderful people in recent years as well. And we do the same thing. And it is so refreshing because that builds a trust and it lets you know, folks, that during this whole new environment of remix, you are not out here alone. You're not the only one going through it, and you won't be the last one. I mean,
One thing, Gail, that I think is important
mhm.
is to let people know, share,
Yes,
share, share, share. share the information that you receive. And like I told you earlier, right before we got on this phone call, I just got an email. And the first person I thought about was Gail. I'm like, oh, I got to send this to her because this is going to benefit her. We're still trying to figure out how these things that's happening currently will be impacting industry.
Right.
The message speaks very loudly about it. And so I'll send her little emails, or she'll send me emails, or she'll participate in things and say, Marilyn, I think you need to look at this, and vice versa, because it's about building the community that can help us propel forward.
Yeah.
As long as you are in it with other people, you will be fine. It's easy to feel like this is just a lot when you feel
Mm-hmm.
like you're by yourself, but build that community of friends, build that community of trust. These
Mm-hmm.
people can be folks that's entrepreneurs along with you. They can be people who are in nonprofit organizations, government organizations, corporate organizations, anywhere. People are people. And for the most part, people are happy to help if you are
Mm-hmm.
not a burden to them. If you're in
Right.
a pain in the butt, oh, they're gonna look the other way and
They
go,
will ghost you in a heartbeat.
oh, in
I
a
got to,
heartbeat. And nowadays it's easy for folks to ghost you because everybody is online
yep,
and they don't even have their phone numbers in the signature lines anymore. So you can't even call some of these folks. But don't be a pain. That's like one of the don't be a pain in somebody's butt.
yep,
And I know that you'll be able to go far just connecting and stay
yeah,
connected. Even if there's no opportunity right now, folks are still living. They
yep,
like when
yep.
people want to find out how they're doing.
I got a couple questions for you that
Yes,
have
ma'am.
come in as well. For those looking to reinvent their businesses or their professions, even,
Mhm.
because we both get into that as well
Yeah.
in coaching people. Where should they start? And what is one action step that you would recommend leaders take immediately after watching this episode? I got a
So,
slide for that one too.
right. When it comes to reinventing your business, you have to do an assessment of yourself because you have to figure out if you have the capabilities to really deliver on what you're trying to create.
Yes.
Just because you saw it as the latest, greatest thing, that doesn't mean that you should be delivering that good or service if
Mm-hmm.
that is not what you're good at. So when you start looking at reinventing your business, you have to look at what your primary strong points are as a leader. Because
Mm-hmm.
can you deliver it? If you can't deliver it, don't do it.
Right.
That is first and foremost. It's that self-assessment. And then once you do the self-assessment, you look at your resources.
Mm-hmm.
What resources do you have? Are they capable of doing what you need to be done? And then what resources do you need?
Right.
So if it is you creating an Excel spreadsheet, building columns to talk about the things you have versus the things you need, take a step back to figure out if this is something that's doable. Also, the number one thing I love to do is talk to people to find out what do they think I'm good at,
Mm-hmm.
especially clients. I've always asked my clients, and it's so funny, I've asked a couple clients, so what is it that you think I do? And outside of the work that I've done for them, they often go, you do everything. I was like, well, actually, no, I don't. But
Like, oh, I'm very specific about what I do.
right, but their viewpoint helps me.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you're working with people, their opinions help too. That may be the next opportunity you have to
Right.
pitch something else, pitch this new thing that you're thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Have you got a minute? We can talk forever, but folks, I want to be mindful of your time And I want to also just share with you as we start to wrap up our call with you today. Marilyn, my friend, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
this
you,
is
Gail.
founder and principal consultant of M.H. Johnson and Associates, Inc., but she is also the co-founder of Solo CEOs, which is a phenomenal initiative that she and your partner have set up, your business partner have set up. And let me give you some more tidbits as well before I give you those true golden nuggets. You know, at CMA Enterprise, we're doing our online open enrollment now, and we're bringing back the Lean Six Sigma. So as you start to remix, look at some of the additional tools that you need to add to your inventory of skill sets. We're also going to be doing, I believe it's in June, the 6 steps to successful strategic planning. And we're going to be bringing back the Entrepreneur Excellence Academy. So visit us at the CMA events page. But here's the golden nugget for you. This conversation does not have to end with Miss Marilyn. And Marilyn, I've got your information on the screen, but why don't you let them hear it from you? How can they reach you?
Oh, the best way to reach me is always email. Marilyn at mhjohnson.com. You can also link with me on LinkedIn. I am very active on LinkedIn. So please feel free to link with me that way. If you want to learn a little bit more about my business, you can go to the website, mhjohnsonandassociates.com. The other initiative that you spoke about, Gail, was the Solo CEOs, which is specifically geared towards solo entrepreneurs. There's a lot of information that my partner and I created that we have on our website, which is thesoloceos.com. We have podcasts, which are free. We also have a course for those who are, like you said earlier, Gail, thinking about transitioning from what they're doing to what they want to do. So you can learn about that on thesoloceos.com. And no matter what, the basis of my success has been my community. I could not be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for my friends, my colleagues, like Gail, my business partner, my family, my husband. That is how I have continued to move forward. It's surround myself with people who support what I do. Mm-hmm. There's no negative Nellies in this group. And we continue to support each other always. Always. And when we feel that Nellie coming into the conversation, we get on the phone and she's gone. But folks, again, I want to be mindful of your time. You can always reach me at the information below, or reach out to me by email, info@cma-ent.com. These programs are recorded. Even though they are live at this point in time, when it's done, it will be streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook. Steve, what are the other areas that we will show up on? It will be on the website and YouTube, I believe it is.
YouTube, yep.
So you can reach us and find us anywhere. Share it with your friends out there in the universe. Before we close, once again, Miss Marilyn, do you have any final words of wisdom for our guests?
Gail, the word of wisdom for the day is just keep moving forward. One foot in front of the other, keep moving forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next month on the second Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it has been an amazing show, Miss Marilyn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gail.
And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, you're welcome, because you have been the fly on the wall of our telephone conversations. You all take care, stay blessed, be safe, and we'll see you soon to talk out loud some more.